again. Sorry I'm a little late. So many things are happening and going on here in Florida, which is wonderful, but it's just a lot to keep up with. So, hey Abby, we just laughed about it because I literally just left the barn. So we were just laughing that I'm gonna see Abby in like, a half hour. So, I had bad connection, Carol. So just moving forward. So yeah, there's a couple of fun things. I hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day. I also hope everybody who's like under winter in every other state but Florida, I hope you are all staying safe and warm. Now like the electricity's out in everywhere and there's like snow and ice and it's just tough times. So I'm wishing everybody safety while you are at home, and I hope you stay warm and the horses stay safe and yeah, everything is okay. We've had a very busy but amazing week. Allie came last week. I had 4 really amazing lessons and I actually just got done with one with Apollo this evening as well. So that's really great. I'll go into a little bit more about that in a little while. Exciting things about the podcast. Every Friday, the girls put out a new episode. So we're really excited because last week, I hope we made lots more people laugh around the country and the world about the AR story was last week. So everybody go to Dressage Life with JJ Tate. That's the name of the podcast. And I'm sure we'll share a link here that you guys can easily hop over there and listen to that. It was one of the most watched lives I've done, and it's pretty hilarious, and it will change your life. And yeah, it's just never not funny. So I hope you guys check that out. And this week, so always at Friday at 2 p.m., the newest podcast goes out. And so this week is the interview with Teresa Schaefer, who owns Isaac. So we call her Little T. So she's going to be in the interview. And that was also called Best Laid Plans. So that will be really fun and to listen to that because I actually forgot what I said. So that'll be great to circle back around. And I think I did that I think it was early in the summer. So that will be fun what we talked about then. And, Isaac had a great day today. So it's so fun to see his progress and be part of that. And yeah, it's always fun to hear Little T and what her thoughts are on things. And she makes me teach better. I love her. She's one of my favorite little people in the world. So it's a joy. So I can't wait to hear that as well. And then we had the Team Tate Academy members send in the Share the Love Challenge. And I have to say, some of these videos actually move me to tears. So the winner is Taylor Hewitt. And she is this just darling young lady. She's 12 years old. She's currently in Minnesota, and it was minus 10 degrees when she took the video. And she has a 12-year-old, his name is Jack. He's a Frisian thoroughbred. And her favorite video in the academy was the elbows that I did with Montana, and the 3 spines and the T-Rex and the 3 things the horse should never learn in the contact to challenge your contact. So that was really fun to see her video. And I have to say, I cried a little bit. I was like, this is exactly, what my calling is, to help people everywhere, learn to ride their horses better, learn to communicate better with their horses, and make a difference in people's lives and horses' lives. And it made me so happy. So huge congratulations to Taylor Hewitt. And I know it's cold, but I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I would love to teach you in person someday, Taylor. So hopefully, I've got some friends in Minnesota who want to see me. I know there's been a few requests, so I'm going to put that out there that I need Taylor in the clinic. I had a really fun experience also. I think it was yesterday. I got interviewed for my first podcast interview with Bethany from My Equestrian Style. And a huge shout out to Michelle for connecting the dots for us there. And it was really fun because she grew up in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and she, knew right where my old stable was. So that was really, really fun to kind of just, talk about how I've come to be where I'm at, and that the Academy has really brought a dream into reality. So look for that. I think that's going to come out around March 1st, and we will for sure share it here as a link. But check out her podcast. It's very popular. It's all over all kinds of different genres and different disciplines, and she was really fun to talk to. She has literally the perfect podcast voice. So that was really wonderful as well. And yeah, what's coming up Patrick King was here on Monday. So that was really fun as well. I taught him a lesson on my Grand Prix horse, Montana. We started that at 8 in the morning, and then we were talking and discussing all kinds of things. And then we worked with 3 different horses, Apollo, Freddie, and Denali, in the round pen with some groundwork and things like that. And it was 8 hours of just talking horses. It was so fun. And what I learned, this is going to be a whole nother Whine About It Wednesday, I'm sure. And I'm going to get Patrick on here to interview because it was really fun and fascinating to work with the horses. We did a lot on the ground, and I taught him a regular dressage lesson, which was fun. And he's a good rider, so that was good. Montana approved, so that was great. And then we worked with his cavesson in the round pen with some of the horses, just getting them to shape up. I'll have him on here and he can tell you exactly what his specialty is, because it's not really groundwork. It's really teaching the horse to find their own balance and explain isometric resistance and how to engage their postural muscles with really thinking through what we want them to do. So that was a really fun day of just literally horsing around all day. So that was great. And interesting about being down here and having access to such amazing people. I get to see Allie a couple times a week, and Claudio and Michael Klemka, and I ride every day around with Sabine Shoot-Carey and Kristen and Scott and Ashley, my Ashley, who's also amazing. So it's just and Jane, our barn owner, she's amazing. We're all striving to find our best self. And it was interesting because I felt this weird thing rise up in me. I had 2 super lessons with Allie, one on Apollo, who I've struggled with a lot. That is who I did the Whine About It Wednesday about being frustrated. He is amazing. He is a freak of nature. He's a lot to manage. But I love him very much. But he was amazing. I will share some video. You guys won't believe it. He's so amazing. And Gideon was also awesome. So we actually sent in our entry for the first show we're going to do. So we're going to do that next week. We're going to show in the CDI 3-star. So just to get out there, and that'll be really fun. Get off the farm. And then it was funny because then Allie came back, I think 2 or 3 days later, and I literally felt this weird thing of like Apollo and Gideon had gone so well. I had like this weird thing of like, can I repeat that? Like, I feel like my riding is getting much better and my aiding system is getting much better. And not only according to Allie, but Patrick too, I'm clearly doing way too much, which I know is part of doing less and being the lazy rider and ask and the horse should do it. And I'm getting better at that. Still hard. The struggle is real. I want to override everything. I want to help too much. I'm very helpful. I'm a very helpful person. And I'm also really empathetic. So I just want to be like, ooh, how can I help you understand this better or do this better? Or, you know, so both, it was really funny to hear Patrick say it in his way and then have Allie and I, we've really been working on that, you know, aid less, get a bigger response from a lesser aid. And, you know, but I felt this weird thing of, will I be able to recreate the greatness? Like, was that just lucky on Thursday morning? Maybe that was just this like special thing. And then Saturday came along, or Sunday, I can't remember what day it was. And I rode Romeo and Denali, and that was just as amazing. So we were all getting better, and that is fun. And that's exciting. And I can't wait to show you guys the videos. You won't believe it. And each horse has their own little different thing, you know, like I'm working with Apollo at the moment for, I mean, I kind of say it in a funny way that he just needs to learn to trot. I'm actually not kidding about that. Trotting that horse has been so hard. And he's always wanted to like do this little tiny, like little chip chop, toot, 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 little tiny thing. And like to teach him to like be big and swing and pop over the back and connect properly hocks to the bit has been really hard. So we're making mega progress there. And like then all of a sudden it's been feeling like this crazy washer machine, you know, just like da 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 da. And then all of a sudden we've like popped out the top and he's kind of trained. It's amazing. So that's like inspirational for everyone out there who's a little bit in the midst of the mess. And it's okay, it gets messy. It's part of the process. You know, if it stays too neat, there's really not enough growth going on. So it's totally okay that it just gets a little messy, and let the mistake happen, because then you can correct it. And that's the real thing of like finding the skills, how to find more clarity in your riding and keeping your eye on the prize, like we always say. So it's okay, it's messy. Embrace the mess. Embrace the chaos of, it's not how I thought it was going to be, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Maybe that's this horse's process. So it's so exciting that there is organization and order coming into Apollo's life. And so that is really great. Gideon is just a badass, all the way around. He's just a freak of nature, and I love him. He's amazing. I can't wait to show him. He's the best. So then that went great. And then Denali, I mean, he is changing week to week. That horse is unbelievable. But I mean, I honestly thought in the middle of the summer, 2020, I did not think I was going to be able to ride that thing. He was so strong. So strong. He did not stretch down. He did not bend right. If he got excited, there might be bucking. You know, it was just like, and like that was just a response to his tightness and his lack of suppleness in his back. So it wasn't like was naughty, and it was just the expression of his tightness would sometimes be that. He's totally different. Oh my God. I will show you some pictures. His body is changing. Freddie, you won't believe either, but that's a whole nother story because he's doing great. he's doing great too. I think I'll maybe talk about that next week. But Romeo too, he took a lesson. I rode him with Allie, and that is a tremendous horse. Eileen bought him from some clients that we had from Wisconsin. And so Jessica Davis has been training him for about 5 years. So he's been in our program, and I've known him since he's 4, but it's incredible how he's changing and coming into himself too. And he's like almost 18 hands and coming 9. So everyone's also on their own program and their own schedule. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And that was something that Patrick really helped me with. And we'll get into all that on another chat, because, you know, what questions are you asking your horses? Instead of like, I need you to put your head down over here. You could ask the question of, how much could you flex in your pull to the right today? And I thought, that's definitely not the question I am asking. I am like way too like bossy. So my A-type dressage personality was in rare form with Patrick. But it was really fun to kind of think about Walter Zettel, God rest his soul, one of my most endearing teachers I've ever had. You know, I'd pick up the canter and he would always say, you could canter 3 horses with that aid. Do less, do less. They feel a fly. And it's fun to like get back to that of like how sensitive they actually are and how we need to quiet down inside ourselves to hear the silence. So that's been a really fun challenge. I have work to do on that for sure, especially on the ground. But yeah, it was this funny, weird anxiety I had with my second 2 lessons of the week, because I thought, is it gonna go as great as the first 2? And then I was like, just relax and ride, it'll be fine. And then it was great. So part of what I wanted to talk about tonight is something Allie and I were talking about in the lessons. And we just have both this, I mean, I don't want to call it a weird brain, because I think it's a great brain, but both of us, and that's why we get along so great as terrific friends, it's like we both remember things that people have told us 25 years ago. And it is like on a replay in our mind of like, oh, I remember somebody told me that, and now I get what that meant. Or now I'm able to do that of what I heard, but I understood it in a way that it was like this piece of knowledge that I wrote down in my journal. I thought about it, I wrote it down, I have it on my videos, but the true understanding in dressage like just keeps coming. So the thing we've been talking about a lot this week is the down seat. And anybody who's ever heard me talk about Eula Dalos or has been to Eula Dalos in Hungary know that that is one of his, like, he's got these like Eula-isms that I just love them. And English was his 3rd language. So, you know, it wasn't like this lush, you know, incredible vocabulary of every little fine detail. Like he sort of spoken in very clear, concise ways. And you could sort of make it up into whatever it meant for you personally. Like he didn't want to know what you were feeling in your seat bones or your big toe or like whatever. He was just like, sit down on the saddle. And so I love that in a way, like that super clear, straightforward, just sit, you know, it is really the hardest part of dressage, is like simplifying all these super complicated ideas. And it's been really exciting in the academy to hear everyone's feedback on how simple and applicable they are finding all of these interesting concepts. So we have another launch in March, so I hope you guys get in there, because it's been really fun to talk about all these things a lot deeper and while I'm on a horse and can show you how to do it. But the big thing we spoke about this week was the down seat. And I'm going to share a video of Eula riding in here because he has this like amazing erect torso, just this beautiful, stable torso, and these thighs, and like you just see the energy going through his femur, down through his heels, as if the gravitational force of the earth is like pulling him down around that horse. And it's like this amazing, like his seat is down, but he's not pushing down. And he just allows his legs to just be hanging down. And I could see that when I would watch him ride, because that was also what was so wonderful about my time there is Eula was riding a lot, so I would have my lessons, and then Jofi, his daughter, one of my best friends, she would ride, and then you could see what he was saying in my lessons to me, Jessica, more down seat. And the finger would always go up. Pointer finger was always up. And like no one ever calls me Jessica. Like it's J, it's JJ. I mean, whatever, but it's never just like I hardly even answer to that. And so that like they don't really do nicknames in Hungary, so it was like Jessica. So I'm like, okay, that's my name. And whenever you would talk about something really important, his finger would go up and he'd be like, Jessica, more. And then he would like struggle for the word to explain it to me, and then he would just come up with this more down seat. You know, and it was crazy because Allie and I have joked about that like she's explaining it in her way. And then I would say, yeah, Eula used to just call that more down seat. And so we started talking about like what this like stretched up through your core, and that you're holding your own self like a ballroom dancer. But then you also allow the energy, the gravitational force of the earth to like pull at your hips and allow your energy to go all the way down through your femurs, down through your heels, and like have these like weighted sandbags on your heels. And when you would watch him ride, which I will share here, I mean, you just could see it. Like the energy was just like down. And like there would be these fleeting moments while I was riding, and we rode every day without stirrups. It was like 2 lessons a day, 6 days a week. I got to warm up with stirrups, and then I got my stirrups taken away. So yeah, my legs were down, but I still didn't really have like, it wasn't totally pulling down. And so there's this amazing thing that you just keep working on things and they circle back around in your brain. And so today on my lesson with Apollo, and actually last week too, the more you stay quiet and let your energy pull down, the horse learns to like trampoline up off the ground. And it's part of that thing that people would talk about of like do less, like sit still, but still can sometimes turn into tight. And then tight actually slows and stiffens the movement of the horse. So we don't really want to be tight because I'm like sitting really still, like a robot, you know. So there's this like elasticity, but this stillness and this drape down, like your leg is a warm, wet towel. And then this power going down. And the more you can actually like let your energy go down, the more the horse's hocks bend. It's like this amazing thing. And so I got it with Apollo in the Piaffe and the Passage. My legs were like down. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it, the down seat. And then today we worked on it in my flying changes, doing less, theme of my life. And minimal aid, but twice the reaction. So that was really fun to work through. So then I thought it would just be fun to go through some of the wonderful gems that Charles set me up. Charles de Campi, my mentor of 30 years. He set me up to go to Budapest, Hungary when I graduated high school. And talking to Bethany in my podcast interview with her podcast, My Equestrian Style, it kind of like brought up all these memories. And I'm like, I really need to do a live about how amazing Eula is and how he could give me the feeling with such simple words what I was going for in the riding. And so, yeah, so the down seat was a big one. I got that a lot, numerous times, all the time. And I know Charles always says teaching is repeating, but I heard things a lot. He would also say, look it out. And it was like, it wasn't just look up, and it wasn't like look out at something. It was like, but this like, and I don't know if it's completely translated from Hungarian, that was why that was one of the things. But he would always say like, more down seat. And then he would say, look at out. So you'd have to like look up and out, you know, which also like changes your whole position and energy of your upper body. And I don't know about you guys out there, but I like neutral, or I'll be like getting like information from my eyes of like, oh, you know, what I am literally sitting on top of the Wi-Fi in this room and it's still disconnecting. Anyway, we're back talking about looking at out and that energy of like, when I'm really concentrating, I like to stare down at the horse's mane. It's like a neutral zone for me. And so something I've also really trained into myself is to look 5 feet above my horse's ears, which then really brings my chin up, and the visor of my helmet. You want to also always feel that the visor of your helmet is also like parallel to the ground. So this whole idea from Eula, who was like, look at out, you know, was always this like, oh yeah, chin up and look up. There was another things he would always say, and I was a young rider, so I went over with 2 Pre-St. George horses, young rider horses, and we all 3 of us, me and my 2 horses, learned the whole Grand Prix on both of them. And no one ever got on my horses. Like Eula was able to do that through, I mean, just the gymnastic exercises and the discipline of just riding well. I mean, it was just repetitive and strength building and concentration. And he would say that sometimes, you know, but a couple of the things he would always say in my lessons, again, the finger would come up, Jessica, more, searching for the word. And he would say, more control. Like that was the word he would come up with. Because it would be like, yeah, well, control of what? Like control of myself, control of the gait, control of the balance, control of the thrust, control of the collection, control of the horse just in general. Like, are you still cantering? You know, so it became this like funny thing of like, oh, more control. But you could just take that into whatever more control meant for you or your horse. I mean, it was always applicable, which was pretty cool as well. A lot of things about the seat, he would always say, more push with hip, or more, push with your back, which I love that. And in the Canter seat video of the circle of the Canter seat, I talk about the now of the canter, and the N-O part of the now is the pushing with the back, and the W is that gathering in your abs, you know, or in the front of your body to send the energy up. And so I always think of Eula and how powerful it was to like push more with my seat or push more with my back. And he would always do this too. He'd be like, Jessica, important. So I'd have to really focus. And they would always, I don't know if you can see me, but he would always go like this on his body, and he would like pat his ribs, and he would say, more body riding. And so like, I think that was his abs, but it was also his core, but it was just like this stability through the rider's torso to be the boss. And to have that down seat, because the more down you can go, the more trampolining up the horse is going to go. So you'll feel it. Your heels will go down, your knee will go down, you are deep into the saddle, and the horse is picking you up. Another thing in the canter, he loved like we cantered all the time. Medium canter, collected canter, back to trot, back to canter, medium canter, collected canter. I mean, small circle, halt, canter. I mean, it was like transitions everywhere. I have never done so many small circles in my life. And I do talk about that quite a bit in a couple of the videos in the academy, but he always wanted more jump in the canter and more activity, so that there was this like jumping and bouncing and the hind legs were active, and yet there was never any speed. So that's also something fun to think about in your riding as well. The down seat and doing less, but really waking the horse's body up, waking those haunches up, you know, just brings energy and fire into it. But I'll just share this one last funny story, because I tell this to all my young trainers as well, because Eula, when my parents would come to visit, I moved to Budapest, Hungary, lived by myself in an apartment when I was 18. I was there for 7 months with 2 horses, flew home, thought I learned all these things, and I was really smart. And then I realized I knew nothing and I needed to go back. So I sold one horse and leased out the other, bought a young horse, and went back over, because I'm like, I need to start again and learn this from the beginning. So then I was there for another year and I think 7 months, maybe 7-8 months, so a year and 8 months about. So over 2 years in general. And I was able to buy a Grand Prix horse. So then I had a Grand Prix horse professor who was extremely difficult, Willis. We just lost him last year at 35 years old or something. And then I bought a young horse, which I taught flying changes to. So that was a long, I'll tell you all about that another time as well. But you be like the most talented rider you've ever seen, and that you think I'm destined for great things. And I mean, he was so adamant about intelligence was going to take intelligence was going to take me much farther in the sport than being super talented. Because, you know, at the end of the day, there are a lot of good riders out there. And there are probably a lot of people out there with more money than us who can buy a fantastic horse. And so we have to be smarter and really contribute to our horses' lives in a way that's really fulfilling. Because at the end of the day, that's who we want to look at in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, I'm proud of me and I'm proud of what I'm doing with my horses. And I am smart and I am learning everything I can do, how to approach them, how for me to ride better, how for me to approach them better. And the horses will just only get better because of that. So I want to say cheers. I actually have some wine tonight. I should also drink a lot of water because it was hot, but I will not say it's hot because everyone else is under snow and ice. So I'm not going to talk about weather. But cheers to all the good teachers we've always had, who their wonderful words keep running through our brains consistently. And here's to continuous learning that every couple of years, those same statements mean something deeper. Because at the end of the day, we're all on a journey and we're here to enjoy it. So thank you guys so much for joining, and make it a great night, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye.